Hello and welcome. Today's video is going to be a bit more off the cuff. I didn't prepare a slideshow because it's not about an episode. I did say earlier that I want to talk about the Stargate's Atlantis forward problem, and it really just started out as a bit of a theory. Actually, I asked the Gula Gule afterwards, and for those of you who don't know what a Gula Gule is, I'll attach the video somewhere. I don't know where. And for those of you who come at me saying it's racist, well, in my not so insignificant experience as an African, I can tell you it's not racist. We Africans, at least say sub-Saharan Africans, we have a very solid sense of humor, and part of it is poking fun at ourselves, not deprecating humor, just poking fun at ourselves, because we're freaking hilarious, and the way that we interact with the Western world, freaking hilarious. Also, we know who we are. We don't, in my experience, people who knows who they are don't mind poking fun at themselves. So anyway, the Gula Gule. I asked the Gula Gule, and my theory is kind of true, although the Gula Gule is using AI these days. And so take everything with a grain of salt. I'll tell you what the Gula Gule AI says afterwards. So anyway, Ford, even in Rising, Ford is the puzzle piece that doesn't fit. He's not bad. That's the thing. He's not bad, but he doesn't fit. And I kind of feel that this started with the writers. So this isn't an actor or a director's problem. This is a writing problem. If every sci-fi action series has its own identity, its own formula it works by, and I'm hoping not to suffer cat-related technical difficulties today. Anyway, so the Stargate formula is it's a group of 4 that goes out to explore space. They walk through the gate and they explore new planets. So not really space, but planets. And this group has kind of an identity. It's an unspoken thing, or maybe in the writer's room it isn't. But that's how you know you're watching Stargate. You have this group of 4 and they are stepping through the Stargate, or even if they don't step through the Stargate, even if they just start out by going with a jumper, you know this is Stargate because you've got these people there. So the very first one is an American military-approved good guy, the Jack O'Neill. He's a good guy. He's a strong leader. His identity is kind of wrapped up with the military, but not too much. He's kind of a loose cannon at times, adaptable maybe. So in SG-1, it's Jack O'Neill. In Stargate, it's John Shepard, and they are not the same character, but they are in the same character group. Then you have the scientist. The scientist in SG-1 is Sam, and she just happens to also be a kick-ass she's what, Air Force captain, but in SG-1 or Atlantis, it's just Rodney, and Rodney is Rodney, but he's the one that's there to make sense of the ancient tech they come across. Then there has to be the one that actually the next 2 characters have to wear 3 hats. They are the kick-ass fighter, they are the native guide, and they're a bit the diplomat. Let's go with diplomat. And I feel Taylor was supposed to be the native guide and the kick-ass, but she's also the diplomat. In fact, she leans into that a lot more later on. I think maybe because people didn't really, even though the actress seemed to have really taken the time to learn how to fight, I don't think people really believe that this really tiny lady is such a kick-ass fighter. Like, size does matter, I suppose. So Taylor, although she retains her kick-assness, leans more heavily into being the diplomat, but she's also the native guide. She's the one who literally at the end of Rising tells John and Elizabeth that she will help them find or make more friends. That leaves the fourth man. And I kind of feel that when they made this series, when they started planning for it, they had all these great characters all planned out. And then they realized they needed a fourth man, and they had some ideas of who he should be. He should probably be a fighter. Maybe someone floated the idea that he should be kind of naive, like he should be younger, which is a good character to have in a world that is rich with lore, with backstory. It's a mythologically thick world, which this is. It helps to have the guide, to have someone to tell what's happening. So maybe Ford could ask all these questions, except John is more ignorant of the world he's in. He literally has to ask at some point, oh, what's a Stargate? What are the Guahulda? He fulfills that role. It's not his primary role, but that kind of leaves Ford with nothing to do. And I think the writers didn't know what to do with him. I think they brought him in, he's young, he's a bit naive maybe, he's excited, he's vigorous, and they don't know who he is. They didn't know what to do with him. They were probably hoping that as the series continue, as many do, between the actor, director, and the writers, there will be a spark, and they will realize who this character is. So he's a placeholder until they can figure out who he's supposed to be, except they never really did. And he became kind of redundant, and especially as the role of Taylor as the kick-ass warrior started to fade a little bit, they realized they needed a Tilk kind of character, like the big guy who's really just there to punch and mess up stuff. But then if they bring in another big guy, a big alien, for instance, Ford's got to go. I sometimes wonder if Ford wouldn't have been a better character if he had been a really big bruiser type of guy from the start. There are several actors in the background in Rising who are bolt big. If they had been able to get a big actor to be Ford, he can still be young, but he can be like this ex-WrestleMania guy or something. I don't know. If he had been the bruiser, then maybe he would have fit better. But Ford just seemed dangly. And even in Rising, there was this problem where Ford was introduced as like kind of just there. Like I mention it all the time. He's kind of there, but there's nothing setting him aside. There's nothing going, oh wow, this guy, he has to be part of the main cast because he's that interesting or something. He's just there. And then at some point you realize, oh, he's more there. He's probably going to be important, but then he asks Sumner what's wrong with John, or why Sumner doesn't like John, and he agrees with Sumner. So he's kind of falling in the camp of a good soldier who agrees that he has chosen a side, not overtly, but he has kind of chosen a side. He's against John. But then the moment John is in charge, even when Sumner isn't dead yet, there was this moment where John was still the ranking military officer, and he's the one taking the jumper to go save Sumner. Ford just seemed to move his loyalties over to John in the blink of an eye. And in fact, being kind of joking around with John, like, doing things like when he walks into the jumper in the scene where they are planning on getting ready, he's actually joking with John. This is a guy. Ford is a guy who just a few scenes earlier heard Sandra say that John is a loose cannon. He goes like, "Oh yeah," and so he's not a stable character, I suppose. He is waiting to be something, and so he had to go because he became kind of redundant within the bigger scheme. And so when I did ask Gulagale about this, typed in why did Ford leave? I can't remember the exact phrase. The result was that both the writers and Rainbow Franks realized Ford was a bit redundant, and so he got written out. I think it was a stroke of genius to keep him written in as Evil Ford. Now, I really like Evil Ford. I'm sorry we didn't get to see more of him. They kind of brought in Michael, although Michael has a bit of a complexity to him. I would have liked to see more of Evil Ford, like just a wild card. I don't think Atlantis was set up to have that many filler episodes, which is why I think Evil Ford didn't appear more often. But I liked Evil Ford. I would have liked to see him have a bit of a redemption arc, or alternatively go out in blaze of glory. I know you get a little bit of that, but it's uncertain. Like, I would really like to see him have his moment. But yeah, it's too bad they didn't have a stronger fourth character, a fourth member of the team. I don't think it's anyone's fault per se. We get so distracted in our current life with blaming people, saying it's a fault. Or when people don't agree with you that they are hateful or bigots or phobes, some kind of phobe. And this has nothing to do with that. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not calling anyone anything. I'm just saying that Ford was a goodish idea. It didn't pan out, and so they replaced him. There are some things he does that I kind of like. I kind of liked him the best as still good Ford in Letters from Pegasus. That's the episode. He's. I wonder if he had been like a slightly less important character. Also, if he wouldn't have been better. Like, I would have kind of liked him to be like the Atlantis head of security instead of Bates. Bates still annoys me. Ford would have been a really good head of security on Atlantis. But it is what it is. We got what we got. I mean, this series, by the time I started watching it, it was already finished. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Ford problem. It's too bad it didn't pan out for everyone. I do like Ronan. I mean, I was a Jason Momoa fan before he became big, as all of us Stargate people are. And that's it. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Actually, I would kind of like to know what you think about the Ford problem, if there's some part of it I missed. I don't think it was very deep. I just really think they put in a character that they knew they needed. They tried to build him up to be something. It didn't work. That's life. Every team has the dud. Even when everyone's performing perfectly, sometimes there's just someone that doesn't fit the team, and I think that's what happened with Ford. He was a bit of a placeholder until they could figure him out. They never got him figured out. He became redundant. They replaced him with Jason Momoa, which is great. This is young Jason Momoa when he was still trying to act. And yeah, tell me what you think. If there's anything I missed, if you have nothing to say, that's good too. If you're the guy or girl who just comes in and drops a dislike, tell me what you dislike. I'm not going to change. I'm still really just really curious. Why do you keep dropping the dislike? Like, it's always the one. It's just the one. I thought maybe that my husband, because he watches everything and gives it a like, and I thought maybe he was pushing the wrong button. I mean, he's not that dumb, so I checked it. No, he's been giving me likes, and it's not like the buttons are switched around or something. I just picked up a burr. I don't know who the burr is, or a little troll, or a itty bitty. You know what? Next time I'll have my little troll here. I still have some Tutti Frutti trolls left over. I'll start including him. Like, here's me and my little troll. So see you next time, and have a great day.